I've been asked to give a few comments on the Right to Heal tour. My son Graham, as a young man, was extremely interested in the military. We did many trips where we visited military bases, military sites all around the world. He was a fanatic about the history of Vietnam and World War II, and an incredible patriot. Received compliments all over the place from people about how patriotic he was, how much he loved his country, and it had always been his dream to be in the military. His dream came true and then was shattered. Came home from terrible experiences and shut down, got into alcohol, depression. Not sure if he had suicidal thoughts or not, but certainly couldn't understand what this country, the army, had done to him, felt betrayed, felt left down, felt alone, and really struggled with getting back, meeting with people, just being a part of so-called regular life. And I think getting involved with IVAW and meeting like-minded people, finding that there was a venue, there was a way for him to get involved and actually do something, finally started him back on his own healing tour. And through doing this tour and being involved with the IVAW, the Occupy movement, there's people throughout this country that are starting to rise up and say, you know, there's something wrong with how we're living, with the wars, with the government, with international relationships, with the huge, huge picture, instead of feeling that it's useless, giving up, going, there's no hope, I can't do anything, therefore I will just shut down. He's now begun to realize that one person can do something, can affect change, can affect others, to help them to make changes, to get involved on a small scale, which grows and grows and ends up touching hundreds and eventually thousands of people. So it's been really good, and I wish everybody involved the best of luck, and want to stay connected myself. So
I think it's very important to make personal connections, because if you look at the big picture, it's overwhelming, you know. So the way that change has to happen is from one individual to the next individual, and through networking, and to realize what connections are there, and then it expands. And I liked your term, the long revolution. It's like it has to happen in that way. It's like an evolution, and I think that's the only way people are going to be able to affect change, because we are completely into a military-industrial complex at this point. And if you look at it like trying to change the government, it's too big. You can't really do it. It's so out of kilter with the lack of campaign fairness and going from making money from one campaign to the next instead of really working on things for people. So,
saying the things that need to be said. I think there's been a code of silence for too long. That people have not maybe been aware, have not been informed by the people who have actually been involved in having to fight these wars and being injured. So the more that you speak out and say these things that need to be said and tell the truth, I think that the more veterans who have been affected in the same way will have the courage to say so as well. And they'll hear how you express it, and perhaps they'll be able to figure out how to put into their own words what people need to know about war. War is a terrible thing. It's not fair that we send off young people to be harmed physically, mentally, the rest of their lives for reasons that aren't very substantial.
Yeah, I think it affects everyone. And even if they're not affected because they, you know, a lot of people have a vet in their family, or friend who's a vet or whatever. But even people who have nothing to do with the military are affected economically. You know, we have lots of economic problems in this country. You know, there's like over 40 million people without health insurance, you know, and the numbers are growing. We have housing shortages and homelessness. You know, we're not even at the top of the pile in terms of infant mortality, you know, and it's getting worse. So it's, you know, there are so many issues that could use money that is now being poured into the military, and it's not even, you know, we don't have a say about that. We don't even know exactly how much money it is. So, yeah, everybody's affected that's a citizen.
Like, the blood is on our hands if we're paying money to go kill people. That's a responsibility. Plus, we have a responsibility towards our friends and families and the people in the community who are wounded warriors. And, like, just even my horseshoer, her ex-husband has been in prison for going ballistic because he came back from war with PTSD and never got help. And now at 45, he's a danger to the community. And so he gets sent to prison. But he never has gotten the help he needs. And that is not right.
We're not American, we're Canadian. And our godson, who is very, very close to us, is American. And we watched, I think, we watched him grow up. We were very close to him and to his parents, and we watched as, you know, from afar to some extent, but closely too. We were there when he, you know, when he went through some of his trials as a young man, and then as he grew up, and then he went into the military, and we watched and heard about, and, you know, wrote to him and got letters back about what was going on, and that affected us, and we wanted to support him. We really believe in the work that he's doing. You know, that it's important. It's important to recognize the trauma and the situation that many veterans are in, and it does affect all of us. It affects us even in another country. It affects us personally because of our relationship with Graham and his parents, but it also affects us as neighbors in a country that is going through this, and we, to a very much lesser extent, have been part of what's going on, at least in Afghanistan, not so much Iraq, but Afghanistan, and our soldiers are experiencing similar sorts of things.
Getting the conversation going, getting people aware of what our veterans have gone through, because I myself had no clue 3 years ago. I started working with young veterans because this young man's 6-year-old came to my therapy farm because she was suicidal at 6, and it turned out that she was carrying her dad's pain with her. And he was a veteran who didn't have the physical wounds of war, but had plenty of emotional wounds and was on disability. And as a result of her coming to get help, the whole family got help. They got involved with our farm for the last 2 years, and now they're moving out of state. But I started to get a little inkling, and then we started to have veterans come and volunteer at our farm, doing work projects. But what we really wanted to do was we really wanted to get them with the horses. And after about 2 months, they started saying, "Could we hang out with the horses too? Not just like dig ditches and build things." And we said, "Yes, we love that." So we got them involved with the horses, and the lessons that the horses very gently helped these veterans get. One horse had this guy's back, and he talked about how he always has to have someone have his back. And this other horse taught this veteran, "Don't hold me so tight." And when he relaxed his hold, the veteran relaxed. The horse relaxed. And the veteran smiled at me and said, "That's how I lost my last girlfriend. Too much control, too tight control." And so the little lessons, I mean, that even he shared on King 5 News, this whole interview about how the horses helped them learn lessons they couldn't learn anyplace else about leadership and about allowing the other one to be, and just I think the reactionary part veterans come back with so much reacting, and learning that with horses you can't react. I mean, you're trying to help this horse not react because they're a reactive animal. If you've got this 1,000-pound reactive animal beside you, you don't want to be reactionary. So the horses help them learn to not be reactionary. But this work that I got to hear about tonight with Graham gives me hope. I gave him a hug. I thanked him for his courage, because so many of the veterans don't have a voice. And so to meet someone who's got a voice and is willing to share it and educate us is so wonderful, because we need to change our ways and pay attention to where money goes and what we're doing to our young men and women in the military. And so I'm really thankful that you guys came.
When he first came back from Afghanistan and Iraq, he was really hurting, and you could see it hurting. He didn't know what to do or what to say. And now we see that through that process of him dealing with his own pain and his own trauma, and then taking it forward and being able to deal with others. That's what I was talking about with, that's identifying and then dealing with and talking about the pain and the trauma. That's the healing process that I think we can all encourage and enable other veterans to take part of. They don't have to get into it all the way. They can just talk about it, and that will start that whole process.
It's all been positive. Like it's taking what he went through and doing something with it to make change.
Yeah, positive future. Yeah.
I do have hope. I do have hope, and I think I have hope because of talks like this. I think the more awareness that we can build in America about where our money goes, about what our military spending does to our own people, not to mention all the people in other countries who are our enemies. I've traveled the world to a number of continents because of my kids, and I think I've seen all these people and how we're all in this one world together. And if only everyone could see that, could see everyone as human and not dehumanize your neighbor, let alone the person in Iraq or Afghanistan or South America or the people who are living on top of the oil, or if you could just see everyone as humans in one pot working together to live and survive, that will help so much. And that's what gives me hope, is that people are having the conversation.
And I think it's really important for people to be involved. It doesn't necessarily have to be this particular issue. You know what I mean? I think that if you're involved in social change, whether it's the healthcare system or the judicial system or whatever it is, whatever piece it is that you're trying to work in, they're all interrelated because they all affect social change, and at some point they all interface. So
the first part of healing is to identify that there's a problem or needs something, and then we need to talk about it and change what's going on in order to enable healing to take place.